All right. Hello, everyone. This is Diamond Rivera of the Live Discussions with Diamond Podcast, Season 5. And today we have a very special guest. But before we get started, this episode is sponsored by Tu Bachata Radio, where you can listen to this interview live in high quality. As well, we're available on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and as well as other streaming platforms as well. This episode today is dedicated to DJ Cello, all the way from DC. We wish you a speedy recovery, my brother. And today, people, we have a very special guest, all the way from the Chicago area, the one, the only, Jeremy Feliciano.
Hi.
Hey.
Olas. What up, y'all?
Oh, Jeremy, this is amazing to have you on. I mean,
It's an
from that
honor to be here.
video that we just saw from the 2009 Masters of Bachata, that was
Not
by,
19.
yes,
19.
2019.
Oh!
uh, all the way from Ferocity when they do their Masters of Bachata. That that video again was phenomenal. The way, the musicality, the timing, the technique, the emotion. I mean, everything that you just did. I mean, was flawless. I mean,
Thank
and
you.
at least before we get things started, honestly, just as I ask everyone, how have you been this crazy past year?
Whoa! A whirlwind of emotions. I just can sit there and say, I kind of went from being jobless to now getting a job and then kind of getting my dancing ready, hopefully back intact. Um, and yeah, quarantine has just been a mental draining but also a great experience because I've learned a lot about myself as well through it, learning that there are some things I need to work on by myself because hey, you've been avoiding it for so long, now you can't avoid it no more. So
Absolutely. I mean, like I've talked to many guests, even asking that simple question, and that big thing of like reflection and realizing everything you've been through. Also realizing again to like I tell people how many people are no longer here, whether they're in our dance community or not, and how grateful we should really be that we are still here, healthy, with our families. And like you said, with dance, again, dance has been such a therapeutic solution to many people's problems over the years. So
yeah.
over the past year, with things literally like going to your favorite event one weekend and the next weekend you don't know when it's coming back. I've realized talking to many people, including yourself, that how much dance has impacted their lives in such a positive way. And me and you have met. I mean, we kind of go back around, I may say 2018, 2019 time.
I think 2018.
Yeah,
Yep.
2018. Yeah, because it was around that I think November. And
Yep.
the crazy thing, we of course we meet in Minnesota, which we'll get into that. And those crazy trips to the liquor store and yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. But in the same regard, realizing where we were walking, this was where the protest was happening. And it
I
was like,
know. That is crazy to think
yeah,
about that now. I'm like, oh yeah, it is.
that liquor store we went to was
That liquor is that
burned
exact
down to the
liquor
ground.
store.
But
Full
you
turnaround.
know, with all this craziness,
Yep.
I think we'll have a better, I think throughout this talk today, have a better understanding of who Jeremy is as a person.
Yeah.
Because I notice with a lot of artists, the big thing is people love what I do on stage. They love to see my classes, but many of them don't even really care about how I'm doing as a person. So I think this will give us some kind of self reflection, kind of a therapy session in a sense. Because again, I love the artists to know that they feel appreciated and their words do hold value. So, I mean, as I do with all my guests, kind of take us back of who Jeremy was before dance came into your life.
Huh. Okay. Well, for me, I've been dancing, not at a really young age, but I started at 9 years old, and I think I started off in ballet. So for me, that was a moment because I did not like ballet at all. I thought ballet was horrible. And then the following year after school rehearsal, after that school rehearsal, then I did hip hop, and then so on and so forth. Which we'll probably get more detail of that later. But I think for me, who Jeremy was before, like consistently being a dancer, um, I was just a regular person, honestly. I knew I was a good dancer, and that was pretty much all I had going for me. In high school, I pretty much danced. I didn't go to college, and I just worked after high school. I was a regular person. Um, in the words of Cardi B, regular schmegular person.
Oh my God.
I love Cardi. Um, but yeah, I mean, other than that, like nothing was going crazy. I lived a regular
Mhm.
person life. I went out with my friends on the weekends. Worked during the week, and I did what I had to do. And then, Latin dance came into my life, and that was that. But now I'm going to go into my dance career. That in itself is just long.
But you notice too is like I think there are two types. Oh, there are many types of dancers, but I think in reality, the ones I notice are the ones that since they were young, they've trained and done all of this work. And then you have the others that kind of just get into it at a specific moment and just
Mhm.
stick with it. So realizing that you had dance already in your life before Latin dance came around.
Yeah.
I mean, even for me, I was a high schooler in an all boys school dancing. And for 4 years straight, and I tell people a lot, it was hell. I mean, being a boy named Diamond, being a Latin dancer,
I don't mean to
um,
laugh. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
I know. It was hell for not even, I would say 6 years, even this last 2 years of middle school, because kids didn't understand it. For me, it was like, hey, I'm going to LA here, I'm going to Boston, I'm going to Texas to perform. I'm missing days of school. But then when I'm getting back to school, it's back to reality. And these kids, kids can be cruel, trust me. And
Oh, I
you
know. Oh, I know.
man, and I tell people if you're a dancer, especially in your high school age and you're
Oh,
confident in it, just be prepared. You got to have some really, really tough skin for people who are not understanding of.
well, I think in my sense, also being a dancer, being a gay person, I
Mhm.
was gay in high school, obviously, and then obviously being a cheerleader as well. So being a
Mm,
dancer, a cheerleader, gay, kind of popular, a very outgoing person because I've always
mhm.
been an outgoing, rambunctious person.
Yeah.
So I think all those odds were like, oh, of course, for someone to get made fun of, and then thick skin me, wakata.
And I'm not even gonna lie, it's funny you even said cheerleading because I know it was one summer. I used to watch MTV Made when they used to have the cheerleading, and I was like, yo, I see all these people. I'm like, they start traveling, like,
First
and
of all, let me just talk about. I want to say that and say for every guy out there, cheerleading is a sport. I'm gonna say
yes,
that
it
it is
is a
a
sport.
sport
It is.
because
It
guess
is.
what? I had to lift 100 pound, 50 pound, 150 pound person in the air while you're lifting a 2 pound ball. Sorry, sis. That's all I gotta say.
Keeping it real, keeping
Real.
it all the way. So, give us an understanding for people, especially like us New Yorkers.
Uh huh.
What is it like growing up in Chicago?
Growing up in Chicago. Well, for me, I mean, I came up in a middle class family, so we were
Mhm,
not poor. Um, we weren't rich neither. We were well off. I mean, we pretty much we did we had to do to survive. My mother raised me. My mom and dad raised me all the way to I was a single kid till I was 10 years old, and then my sister came, my beautiful princess. Love her sometimes. um, and then uh basically we were just I was just us, me and my sister and my mom. My mom and dad split up when I was around that age, and my mom was a single mother. She raised us. My dad's still in our lives. He's comes in, still cooks his arroz con gandules for us and everything. Um, but I mean, for that, like it was something my mom needed, and she did it for herself. And she's an independent woman for it, a strong one. And I think also that's where I get my strength from,
Yeah.
is from my mom because she did it on her own, so I know I can do it on my own, and I know that if from her strength, she made this. So my mom.
Absolutely. I mean, so do you think that your prior dance life and then going into your high school years, you working with cheer, do you think it kind of helped mold you into kind of
I
coming
think
into this life?
Yeah, I think cheer was a big part of me molding me as as a person, individual,
Yeah.
as a person just in general, because learning to not only be a trust for somebody, but also trusting in your team.
Hmm.
That team diversity, that team unity helped build me as a person to know, be like, hey, you don't have to be that tough exterior person all the time.
Yeah.
You can open up and actually have a friendship, have a sisterhood. Which is also why I tend to gravitate to a lot of girls friends that are girls.
Hmm.
Just because like I was into my friend earlier. I was like, hey, like I gravitate to girls more. Like they're just my thing. They're my niche. We like hair, we like nails, like stuff like that. So it's a gravitational thing, I guess.
Yeah.
But for me, it built and molded me and made me a stronger person. It made me understand also how teamwork works, and also how being, because I did training for 3 years, my sophomore, junior, and senior year.
Hmm.
And by my senior year, I was captain, so I had to be a leader of the team. So I went through stages. I went to being a regular cheerleader to then having to like run the team. So it was, I went through stages of learning how to be a student, be a leader, and then be the leader, and then now have to. So it taught me those stages of life,
Nice.
in my teenage years, and then obviously growing up, then obviously doing like I did flamenco, so that was very training as well.
Mm.
So like
Yeah.
training was, and that was like, so like a lot of dancing has built structure into me when it comes to dancing, I guess. So the structure that I'm like, I'm very like a visual learner too. So I'm like, okay, I got it now. So like it's one of those. I'm just, yeah, it's built structure into me, and I think when it comes to my personal life,
Hmm.
how it's affected it is just like learning to just be open to yourself
Yeah.
as a person, because you have to understand your experiences, and that translates into my dancing as well, because I had to open up and grow as a dancer to do the routines you see today. um but I think, and vice versa, personal for me, it's like it showed me to be a vulnerable person.
Oh
It's
yeah.
a vulnerable side of me. So
Yeah. I mean, I would say a quote I use is in all of life's experiences, the common denominator is you. Because you evidently, whether you put yourself in a position or not, you're going
mhm,
through these experiences, whether it was somebody else, you decide the ultimate outcome of everything you do.
yeah,
Like you said, us having that experience of even in high school and middle school or whatever, having those bullying moments, we realized there are kids out there that went through the same and internalized it different.
hmm,
And it changed them for the worst. It changed them to become more bitter. For I think people like us, realizing, hey, what goes in one ear comes out the other, and let me allow stuff that's positive for
yeah.
me to come in. So realizing too, I've talked to other guests from Chicago, and I know that Chicago has a history of Latin dancing in some form or fashion, whether it was salsa back in the days or cumbia, bachata, a little bit here and there. But how did you get involved in Latin dance?
Oh, and Latin. Okay, so there was a time period in my life I wanted, and it was when I would turn 21. Actually, when I was 20. Sorry, not 20. I was 20 years old, and I decided to take a year off of dance. And I was just like, at this point, dance was very like much my life, and it was like where it was basically I was dancing every day, 7 days a week, having rehearsals at with ensemble, my hip hop team, my Latin, so it was all that in one. And I said I needed a break, I needed a getaway, so I took away. And then when I decided to go back into dance again, I met this person named Jerry, who was on Gifted Souls Chicago, and he said, "Hey, I see you were a dancer. My team's having auditions," and I said, "Why not?" So I went and I auditioned. I auditioned for Get the Souls, the hip hop portion of the team, and Murder She Wrote. I went there, and then from Gift of Souls, I went to Island Touch, which is where I did my bachata. And then from there, Bachata Touch to Ladies Touch, and Ladies Touch to my team, and so on and so forth. And I
Mm.
mean, yeah, but Gift of Souls was like, it put me into the mindset, because my very first Congress was Las Vegas. So that's where I was like, okay, I need to learn how to do this now for
Oh
real.
yeah.
I
Wait,
watch people on stage over here doing flips. I'm like,
do you remember the year you were in Gifted Souls?
2000 and it was the year after they did the Addams Family. The year they did uh Wizard of Oz, which I believe was 2014.
Wow, because I actually was a part of Gifted Souls
New
New York.
York. Oh,
Yeah,
I know this. Oh no. Oh, I know this, sir. We are part of the same legacy.
yes, yes. So I mean that connection there because I was like, wait, I was looking back and I was like, I've seen you before, but I didn't know where. And then it hit me.
Yes, yo. I'm a GS
Yeah,
kid.
yes. Oh my God. Big shout
Yes.
out to Rocky. I mean,
Rocky Quinones. Oh my God. That also
Rocky.
brought some structure into my life. That man right there.
I used to see just videos of rehearsals, and let me tell you, like that's our Debbie Allen. That is that's no joke.
Bro, Debbie Allen. I don't think Debbie Allen got nothing on Rocky.
Because
Love you, Rocky. If you're watching this, I do.
for me, I give so much respect to instructors and directors because it's so easy for us as students to talk to them, but it's hard for them to just talk to all of us
Yeah.
and get through each of us because, I
And he
mean,
had a lot of us.
yeah,
Just
I
alone,
mean,
the Chicago team alone had like 60 members.
you had a whole
So,
football, you had a whole Chicago Bears team on your goddamn like.
sorry. We are sorry. We were the originals. What you want to do?
I know, man. Y'all had some interesting characters over there. Trust me, that I met. Yes.
Have you met me? Yeah. Interesting number one.
Yes. So now we understand how you've gotten into it with Gifted Souls. And then like you said, kind of that trajectory of
Mhm.
led to this and led to this. So when you were working then with Island Touch,
Yes.
how was that original experience like for you?
So my very first time, I joined when we did. I don't know if you know the routine they did, which was like the baby blue powder dress. It was
Yes.
Aki Soyo.
Hmm.
So that was my very first season of Touch. That was when I had joined Touch. I did that. I did 2 seasons of co-ed, which was that one, and then Sin Marte, which I love that routine.
Yes.
If anybody asks me what her Touch routine, it is Sin Marte all the way. Um, then after that, that's when I had decided to, take the plunge and take the punch and went to ask Tanya if I can join Ladies Touch because
Mhm.
the routine that she did with the girls, which was the purple, I read all about it, where they were talking about domestic violence.
Yes.
It resonated so much with me, and I knew when I saw that routine and how powerful this team could be in my life,
Yeah.
I was like, I need to join it. I don't care if I have to wear heels. I don't care. I will figure it out. But I asked her, and I joined it. And this is also when I was a stubborn person because also through dance. Dance is actually what led me into now dressing like a woman on stage.
Mhm.
But when I first started Ladies Touch, obviously I was very much like, I'm not doing drag. Y'all know that, right? I'm just gonna put on the heels. So I had to find like a man version of every single costume that they had to
Yeah.
make to do. And so basically Assassina was pretty easy because it was already like a tux style
Yep.
outfit. So I was like, oh, thank you, Jesus. This is gonna be easy to figure out. And then we got into where they started into dresses, and that's it.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, for me, just going to Ladies Touch, and then I think that's where like lady styling for me resonated the most because if anybody knows me, I am a diehard fan of Tanya, and obviously being a part of her team and being part of her now, learning her routines, learning her style, learning her thought process now. Because mind you, when you're doing her routines, you're listening to what she's listening to in the song. So like understanding her thought process when she made this part of the song, made this part
Yeah.
of this routine. Um, I took on a lot of her like habits when it comes to dancing.
Mhm.
um, so for her, I think joining that team and like obviously now when it got to Assassina, which was my very first, and I got to perform it alongside of her. Oh my god, that was like heaven sent for me. Um, and I got to perform with her twice, which I'm like, I've done it, y'all. I did it. I performed with Tanya. It's mind you, it is very rare that Tanya performs with a Ladies Touch. She rarely does it. So when she does do it, it's because one, she loves the routine, and two, she loves us.
Yeah.
She loves us. So it's very, and we all begged her. We're like, do it with do it with us, do it with us. So we begged her. So that's what she was like, yeah, I'll do it. We
So
begged though.
realizing, like you said, you were doing Assassina, that was actually, besides Give the Souls, that was the next point that I actually saw you. And I'm like, I love what's happening because I think what happens in a lot of just culture in general, when there's certain topics or trends that come up or certain situations, especially when it comes to the LGBTQ plus community that is very heavily in the dance community, whether people know it or not, whether
Very.
people accept it or not. For years, especially in the salsa scene, the scene, dancing in general, there are all types of people involved. And now seeing you on that stage, and there was so many other dances previously, seeing how you were able to be in that routine, it was genuine. For me, like I told you, it wasn't, I felt like this was not a gimmick. This was something that was real, genuine from the heart,
Yeah.
from your standpoint and from their standpoint, because you understand now. I remember seeing you performing and I'm wondering now they're gonna now people are gonna start asking those questions. Like it's gonna start opening up doors.
Yeah.
And I mean, for me, I think that's great. Opening up more doors because there are so many dancers like yourself who always question themselves whether they're able to perform such roles. I think there needs to be a change in gender roles and what people
Absolutely.
are allowed to do. So seeing you, I loved it because the emotion you gave on stage was just you. You weren't just playing a character. This was you on stage,
Yeah.
and like from the shoulder pops, from the facial looks, like I studied you. So I was like, yes, I see it. And every show it just got better and better. And you were able then to command this.
Well, it's funny because um that Tampa for me was very a very eye opening experience because technically we were supposed to perform. I was supposed to perform with two other Chicago girls. Um, that and I was the and they ended up not doing it, so I was the only Chicago person on stage.
Mm,
And then when we were doing like formations and everything, obviously because my costume is different, Tanya put me dead center. So she was
yeah.
like, "You're going to be dead center," and then like it's literally me, and then here's Tanya, and I'm like, so I have to do it next to this chica.
Yes.
So I'm like, Jeremy, this is it. Like you either have to
Mhm.
show up or step off.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think literally it's funny because there's like obviously like the visual team, they take pictures, and
Yeah.
there is one picture that I am cheesing so hard because like I'm literally dancing next to Tanya, and I'm like, my dream kind of came true. I
Mhm.
want to dance to this girl, and now I'm dancing to this girl next to, literally on stage with her. Like there's a picture, I mean, literally me and her, and I'm like, oh god, like, so it was like legit, like it was a fangirl moment, cheese, and I'm like, that was genuinely me happy on stage.
I mean, why not? And the fact that you had a picture to show for it. I mean,
Yeah.
there's those moments in our life that, especially if we involved in something like a hobby or certain
Mm-hmm.
environment, those moments could help us, make us or break us. It was that when you had that support from people like Tanya, Island Touch, and the people surrounding, cheering you on, helping you rather than demoting that idea.
Yeah.
So for me, just seeing that everybody was supportive and it worked was amazing. So now my question is, you worked with Island Touch. When was the point that you figured or yourself that, hey, I want to do solo work?
It was after Island Touch. I think for me, I had started my girls team, and then once I started my girls team, which is Femme Fatale, which is one of the shirts I'm wearing right now.
Okay.
My team right there. I think when it came to having to do a solo, um, I just think honestly it was out of a whim. I wanted to see how, I guess, well I would do being a solo artist. I think for me, because everybody always tells me they're like, when I dance, because of how I dance and because I'm such a bigger person, like people say your eyes just draw attention to you, like typically all the time. So I was like, okay. So I'm like, and I got to the point where I was on stage and I'm like, when I dance with a team, I don't like to feel like I'm odd one out. So I was like, I think for me, I was like, I think it's just, let's just see how I do on my own. So then I, was like, what song do I do? And I came across Evidencias, and that's when Murder She Wrote. I was like, I heard Evidencias. I said, I'm doing this song. Um, and that was it. I did a solo too. I did it. I debuted it, I believe, at it was the first iHeart Bachata Social, I believe, here in Chicago, and it got good reviews, and I kept working with it because it wasn't fully finished. Actually, I want to say only like 50% of the routine was done, and I literally freestyled the rest of it.
Wait, was this the same routine you did in Minnesota?
Yes,
I have a story about that because you told me that shit.
Yes,
And I
that
remember.
routine, literally, when I did in Minnesota, was like the final revised. Like, this is what I turned it into. But the very first time I ever performed Evidencia, 50% of it was done. 50% of it on that stage was freestyled.
My lord, that takes like skill
Yeah.
to play it off, because we know certain dancers when they forget they shit, and you just look at their face and you can tell their soul got sucked out. They're like, all right, I'm going for it. But it's certain dancers that can do that and make it feel like it was part of the routine the whole time.
Yeah. So that was literally, it was freestyle like hell. And then I revised it, and then I ended up revising it because I ended up giving it to my girls as the pro routine for Femme Fatale. And then once I revised it, I took it back as a solo again, and I said no more for use. So I took it back as a solo again, and then I just kept doing it as a solo because everybody, obviously, it was my originally, and I think for me, I learned that sometimes you can't give your routines to everybody because they're just not going to do it as well as you do it. So I was like, I think for me, when it came to that solo, I was like, I'm going to keep it for myself. And I think, and that's where I was like, hey, this is something that, and once I kept doing it and got better doing it, it was like that. Now I bet you, like, I feel like doing that routine now, and I'm like, it's probably like a walk in the park because it was actually pretty easy compared to the routines I make now. I was like, I literally did it, and I'm like, this is a walk in the park compared to the routine I make now. So
I mean, that's really showing the growth and progression of your teaching. So before we get into Minnesota, what was it like, honestly, now being a teacher, now teaching ladies your personal routine?
Yeah. Okay. Being a teacher, that in itself was the most humbling experience you probably can ever go through as a person. Those girls humbled me so much. I think just one, understanding that not everybody dances like me was a big portion that I had to learn, and learning to work with different body structures and body types, and from the people who don't have the technique to people who have amazing technique. So like having to learn to put both together, um, and even like doing classes, even too, because classes you have to feel out the class to see what is their level, what can people do. So like all those things that happen is probably the most humbling experience that you could ever do, because you realize that, you know what, at one point you were there. So let's you have to remember to put yourself like people that when you get frustrated with somebody, like Jeremy, at one point you were that person to somebody else.
Yeah.
So let's not go there.
It's true. I mean, I myself, having that experience of being a teacher for over 6, 7 years, when you're teaching, there's those moments that come. You have to like take a step back.
Yeah.
And say, you, like you said, you were one of them. And I think also we have to understand everyone reacts differently to instruction.
I learned. I learned.
The term common sense
Trust
is
me.
not
And like having a team of all ladies, like every woman's different.
common.
Every woman is different. So you're like, what's gonna tick her off that I can't say that won't tick her off, but won't tick her off? And she was just
But
like,
see, that's where it comes, when having that appreciation for those instructors, because when it's one person dealing with 10 plus personalities, 10 voices coming your way rather than 10 voices coming in one direction.
Yeah, you learn. Oh, you learn. You gonna learn real quick.
Oh, yes. So now brings me to a topic that, us actually, we either would see each other in passing or just see through videos. Me at that point, I kind of stepped away from performing for about a few months. So I was still performing, but I turned into filming more. And I had the opportunity from a good friend, Angie and Shun, to come to an event that holds very dear to my heart. Uh, the Mini Chata event happened in about 2018, and I'm going all the way back, 3 years back. Because to be honest, that event for me was special. But I think even more special that I haven't told many people was the chance that I got to bond with people like you. I believe it was Victor Young, Jose Hernandez,
Jose.
my God, Jeremy
Poor,
Rogers.
yeah, poor Desiree. She didn't get to come.
I know. It was just
Poor
like it was
Desiree.
it felt like the real world house. So for me, it
Oh
was
my, yeah.
yeah,
That's
it
like
was so much
legit
fun.
a great depiction of that house.
Oh yes. I mean, it was like finally for me, like I've told you when I met you, like actually meeting you face to face, and I'm like, okay, now this is the person beyond all the videos I'm seeing. And as a New Yorker, we love reading people. We like to see, is this you or is this just a character?
Oh yeah. I mean,
And
also partly, my mom's from New York, so I have a little
actually,
bit of New Yorker in me. So it's
yeah.
it's in my bloodline. The
And
line
you
is
was
straight up
real.
English.
Yes, you was real from front and center and back. So I mean, for me, it was like easily just like, all right, cool. This just feels like somebody I can just vibe with because I'm not gonna lie. I met many different artists over the years. Some of them are cool, but some of them are weird. Some of them are just off. Some are just you're not what I expected. You're not the person I thought. So
For real. Are
and
those few?
I, I think after 24 years of dancing,
You're like,
I've I think I have enough experience to know when, hey, just keep you to the side. And, for me, meeting you and I was watching, I remember we talked about that routine. And I was like, oh, you're doing this routine. And then he was like, yeah, funny story. Yeah, it was only halfway done. I was like, what? It was like, so you got the other half here? And he was like, yeah, it's fully done, everything. But something for me and you talked about too was a moment or moments that we had with the late Christina Minor or Minor. I don't want to mispronounce the last name, but this was a person for us during our time in Minnesota that made it so welcoming. Besides Angie and Shun and the rest of the Minnesota collective of dancers, Christina was amazing. From taking us everywhere, just having those talks in the car, and realizing that she was going through something herself personally, and she would still keep a smile on her face. She would run errands, whatever needed to make sure that Mini Chata ran as smooth as it could. Um, and me realizing I had video of just seeing her happy. And that meant a lot to me because in this dance life, we travel, we talk to people. Most of the time, you see somebody, hey, I'll see you at the social, at the party, whatever. But there's not many moments with certain people we get to actually just have a regular conversation with.
yeah.
And for me, a question I have was, how was that event for you and you getting to really meet Christina?
So prior to that event, me and Christine have met prior plenty of times. Through festivals, obviously.
Mhm.
I think my very dear memory of her at a festival prior to Bachata was CSBF. I remember they were calling her the Bachata Barbie. Um, and she, and literally she looked like a life size doll Barbie. She had her hair coiffed to the side, looking
Yeah.
like she was ready. She was looking
Yeah.
like how she looked A on point every time. Um, and I remember also her being so tall because obviously she was very tall. She was a very tall woman. And she would still wear her high heels. She said she did not care. She was like, I'm wearing my 4 inches. I don't care. So, um, and I just, I think for me, meeting her in that sense, we took a picture together. I remember performing, and I remember her coming up to me, and she says, I'm one of your biggest fans.
Mm.
And I think for me, I was like, for me, every time when someone calls me a fan, it's very I don't take it lightly, just because I'm like,
Yeah.
now you're influencing somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And I think so when to be called that, I like I said, I don't take that very lightly. So to get that call, obviously, like when I do that, as the first thing I always do, because the things that I always touch my heart, and I'm like, and
Yeah.
I always give it to God, because I'm like, this talent is from God. It's not from anybody
Yeah.
else. I only do this because God has given me this talent. Um, and so I think for that, and then like we also met, I believe, at another festival. I don't remember which one it was. Shoot, it's been so I see so many. It was another festival, and I remember performing at the festival. And she said, "You're a beast," and obviously, so then now it was funny because I got the call from Angie, or the message from Angie, stating that hey, they wanted to invite me to Minnesota as a taxi dancer.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, perfect, cool. And I was like, yeah, I'm down. They gave me the information. I got I bought my ticket. They said we give us a house for the taxi
Yeah.
dancer.
They
I was
gave
like,
us a house.
perfect. Yeah. So I was like, perfect. And then, um, also they were like, we also want you to perform.
Mm-hmm.
And I was the only taxi dancer they asked to perform, because they knew prior to being a taxi dancer, I was already starting to be an artist as a dancer, but
Yep.
also like I was going, I was just basically like performing at home a lot. I was in Chicago, so they were like, "You want to come and perform?" I was like, "Yeah, for sure." Anytime somebody asks me to perform, I'm gonna do it, just because I'm like, I need, just to get my name out there, just so people can see who I am as a person. Um, and I came, and I remember Christina picking me up from, like, I believe, picking me up to go take me to the Pasadena, I forgot what it's called. The club we
Yeah,
went to,
I know you're talking
the
about.
club,
I know
the
the
club we
club.
had the event at. Um, and then she took me there. She took me and Angie there,
Mm-hmm.
and she was just like, "I hope you're really excited." And I was like, "I am. I'm excited for this." I was ready, and through that entire time, that whole weekend, we hugged, we danced, we did everything to find out at the end what was happening with her, and to
Yeah.
find out that everything had flared up again. It broke my heart, but I was like, wow, she's a strong person.
Yeah.
Like, in the entire process, the only word I can think of her is strength and strong and beauty and grace and
Yeah.
all these things, just because of, like, she was there the entire weekend, and she did not show an ounce of tiredness until the
Not
very
at,
last day.
not at all. Because I remember she was just going from place to place, picking up somebody from an airport, taking
Yes.
here. And I'm like, I remember I was in the car, I was like, are you okay? Like, do you want to just take a rest? And she's like, no, we got to get things moving. And I'm like, and not knowing until towards the end when I think she told us, or I don't know if it was
She
prior.
told me. She told me during, I believe, right after Alex and Desiree's class, because she saw me doing it.
I remember she had told me during the event, was like, I would honestly periodically just watch, and I'm like, man, she's just moving so fast and doing all this work because she wants to see everything go well.
Smoothly.
And just having that moment with her that weekend, the span of her for me
And the love that she just
yeah,
had for her city.
hmm
Like,
absolutely,
I honestly, and I don't want to put anybody, like, I don't want to say be rude, but like, I feel like she is the reason we know Minneapolis to be a city for dancing now, because like,
Mhm.
she's like, she repped. I'm from Minneapolis. I am from Minnesota, and we have a great dancing scene. Then she brought Angie into it, and then Angie repped, and I was like, look. And
Yeah,
then obviously we win. So like, once they had that event to show, like, hey,
yeah.
Minneapolis is not one to play. Like, they're
Oh, yeah, no, they have a very welcoming scene,
such a
and
welcoming. Yo, I mean, coming from a person who comes from the LGBT community, you are always scared to go into a new place because you just don't know how they're going to take you as an individual. Also for me, because I do drag in my dance performances, like, I'm basically dressing as a woman on stage. You
Mhm.
don't know how they're going. Like, mind you, they're seeing me look like a man every day, and then the moment I come on stage, I'm like, "Hi, I'm a woman. How are you?" You're caught off guard. You wouldn't expect to see that, so you're just like, and the heartwarming feel I got from Minnesota. I think also that's when I realized like you just can't be afraid to go into places, because if this little town who can, they probably could be like very like one way minded, to accept me in their arms, welcome me, and look at me and be like, hey, like, you're dope, you're cool, just because who you are, what you represent, we're not going to judge you for that. I think that in itself made that experience even so much more better. And then having roommates as well that were accepting for me. Obviously, Diamond was one of my roommates. Me and Diamond we were close. That whole trip, me and you were close. We were thick as thieves that whole trip.
Oh my god. It was just like, especially just like just being not from there, just like, all right, let's do what we gotta do, go to the store when we need to,
Yeah.
make sure everybody's situated.
We were like on the same wavelength. We were like, let's get this done.
Yes, absolutely. And honestly, I definitely hope in the future we can head back over to Minnesota and show some love. So a question I have, and it kind of dives into what you were talking about, was you being a dancer and not having other people in that community understand you. Meaning is, especially as of the recent 5 to 10 years, you've been seeing a lot more, I would say, follows, whether they're male, female, whatever you choose to identify with,
Mhm.
and it's different than it was years past.
Yeah.
More people, I would say it's becoming a lot more inclusive instead of exclusive.
Hmm.
And I would say, and I've talked to you that I felt you specifically, as well as many other dancers that I've known on the East and West Coast, especially males that love to follow and also wear heels. What have you felt was the overall reception to you in the dance community from when you first started to currently?
I think from when I first started, I think honestly from when I first started, because when I first started in the dance scene, I wasn't a person who danced in heels. I didn't honestly start following until I joined my first season of Island Touch, and that's when I was still like not that best. So I think the growth in that, a lot of times being a male follow is hard, because a lot of men that do join this scene, um, I'm not gonna. They come in with the perception of like obviously following is meant for a woman, and for a specific gender. And I think for that to see someone like me coming in and saying, "Hey, will you dance with me?" to another male, a lot of men one also find that kind of intimidating as well. But it's also a perception of like, and I think for a lot of men, like at least from my experiences, a lot of guys, they're like, I don't want to dance with you because I think that you like me, and I'm like,
Mm,
wrong. That's
back
not
up.
what I'm literally here to dance with you because you are a good dancer, not because I like you. There was that, or I got the because I am a taller person.
Mhm.
A lot of men these days come out on the short side of things.
You need to.
So
You need. I feel that it's a personal attack. So
no, but I mean that there's a lot of guys who are short. So
yeah.
like, especially in the dance scene, I've noticed that like, and a lot of the men are a little on the shorter side of things, which is okay. I'm cool with that. 'Cause I dance with a lot of guys who are shorter than me, and they can lead the hell out of me,
Hmm.
no problem. So it's not about how short you are. It's just about how well trained you are as a dancer.
Yeah.
That's a big part of it. Um, so I think for me, and another part, the machismo. A lot of machismo. A lot of like, I'm not gonna dance with a guy because I'm gonna look gay, and it's just like it's just the dance. I'm here
Yeah.
literally just to dance with you. I'm not here to hit on you. I'm not wanting to sleep with you after this. None of that. Like this
Yeah.
is literally me being a dancer, wanting to experience your dance abilities, and that's literally how I look at it. But a lot of people don't, and it has gotten better now,
Yeah.
definitely has gotten a lot better now. Especially, I think what kind of helps is when I do dress as a girl, because I think sometimes the conception they could be like, okay, I think he's a girl now, so it's okay. He's like, I don't know if that helps, but I feel like it might, because ever since I started dressing a girl, now everybody's like, okay, I'll dance with you, and I'm like, okay, like I guess that works. So I don't know, but I think in that sense, now is so much better. I think there is still a little bit in the scene, and I think also, but I think it comes from the newer generation because they're not growing. They have more to grow in the
Mhm.
scene to realize that it is very normal to dance with the same gender, and sometimes it can be, I'll say it, a blessing, because it teaches you a new form of way to lead somebody. Because now, like, especially if, like, say for instance, if a male dancer who's a lead loves to do a lot of close holds, now you're gonna learn how to. If you're not comfortable being close hold with a man, you're not gonna learn how to be more in an open hold and lead from that open position. So it generates your mind. It plays skills. I've had males dance with me if I am a woman. I've had males dance with me if I am, or leads dance. Sorry, not males, but leads dance
Mhm.
with me as putting me away and saying, hey, like this is where we're gonna put our
So,
form. And that's
yeah.
fine with me. Like as long as you give me as long as we dance and have fun, and have a good
Yeah.
time, that's all that matters to me.
Mm.
Um, but I think like hitting just the growth of it is getting better. I've definitely danced. It's funny because also there's like I've had a lot of my first dances, and I've known, for instance, I think for Ataka, I've known Ataka for like 5 years, and like literally 2 years ago was our first dance we've ever had.
Wow.
After 5 years of knowing him, I was like, our first dance was in Connecticut.
Well, I mean, better late than never, I
Yeah,
would
like,
say.
but exactly, like, but like, it was just like and I don't want to sit there and say like he had that perception of like, of that. But I'm just saying like, like it took, 5 years of me knowing a person. I'm like, okay, now let's dance together. Like it's one of the situations of just like, it's gotten better and it's getting better, and then you can see that it's getting more normal, and I love that it's getting more normal because at the end of the day, there are guys who just love following, and when we love following, it just I consider me following. I love it because it's a freeing. It feels so freeing for me. So when I get that denied a little bit, it hurts a little bit because you're like, oh, I really
Mhm.
want to dance with you, but I'm like, I respect it because I'm like, I understand you have your views, your morals, and I have to respect that on your side because that's your. I mean, yes, it's 2021. Fix your stuff, but at the same time too, like if that's what your belief and that's what you resonate with, then I can't sit there and tell you that you're wrong for that. And that's how I
Absolutely.
feel.
I appreciate that. And I think now it kind of helps us into transition into our, I would say, closing segment that we have called the randoms, which is a time for levity, maybe some laughs, maybe some insider jokes, and things to allow us to get to know Jeremy a lot better. Because I think thus far with our talk today, we've gotten to know a lot more about you, really your honesty, transparency, and how you view things. And I think everything you said honestly has been amazing because it's coming from your heart. It's not a script. This is your life, and you see it from your view and understanding. Yeah, there's a lot we've come from. Uh, there's a lot more inclusivity that still needs to happen. So, I
Absolutely.
mean, as people like you and others that are the trailblazers and who are speaking up, because again, I'm looking 5, 10 years ahead from now. I'm not looking just towards the next day.
And it's crazy because like, and what I love is that it's getting more inclusive, but it's also now being. I think there's also a big step because like now recently in the past 3 years there has been a queer Latin dance festival which is ran by Angelica and Jahira, and I completely adore that event. Never been yet. I was supposed to
Mhm.
go last year as artist, and I didn't get to go because COVID. Okay, because of COVID. And this year I'm now sending. I will be doing in the performance lineup. I'll be sending them a video so they can put me in the performance lineup. But like I never been, and I absolutely adore this event because it hits home, but it also now trailblazes a way for people who are not comfortable. Then guess what? You don't have to come, and this is generated for a certain group. But it's like also be like for those who are comfortable, for those who are
Yeah,
allies, come through, come party with us, because honestly, we love you as much as you love us.
absolutely.
So
And
I think and I love it because like at least now when I go to this event, I'm gonna know when I ask the guy to dance, I'm not gonna be like they're not scared to dance with me because like it puts a
Mhm.
comfort into my heart to know that now I can go to an event and I know that if someone asks me to dance or I get asked to dance, there's not a discomfort in there because I
Yeah,
know now it's coming. They're genuinely like, yeah, let's dance. I'm there for that, and I think that's. I wish. a lot of more festivals can make that happen or make people feel like that. But obviously, we know like this is because this is meant for this type, meant for a community, but it's open for all to come and join
Yeah.
with us.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, again, I love what Jahira and Angelica are doing, the Cool
Mhm.
Latin Dance Festival. I'm a huge supporter of it. I'm definitely, when that event comes, I know it's virtual this time. I'll
Yeah,
definitely be promoting that event, even though from New York, because I love what they've been doing over the years, the message, the mission of it, but realizing it is exclusive for a specific group in a sense, but it is also inclusive in allowing other people outside of that to see what this event is about.
yeah,
Because again, we're not going to grow if we don't know. We're not going to be able to understand people if we don't take those steps. But I definitely see big things on the horizon for the dance community as a whole, because I think through having these conversations, this is where we make the changes,
yeah.
because there are no longer people can use the excuse of I don't know what
No,
to do. You do.
it's right here. It's
Right
telling
here.
you.
This is a point blank of this is what you need to do. Listen and learn.
And understand, and just understanding as well. Being understanding the fact that maybe someone they're asking you to dance because they just want you to dance, not because they're hitting on you.
Mm, please say it louder for the people in the back.
I will. You want me to? Look, I'll
Say
count
it
to three.
one
I'm kidding.
But now I think it brings us to our segment called the randoms, which is about 10 questions, maybe more, maybe less.
I'm scared.
Of I think you should be, yeah, maybe a little scared. But I think it will help us learn a little bit more about you,
Okay.
maybe your pet peeves, maybe we'll see. All right.
Oh.
All right. Number one, what if you could take someone who is not from Chicago to somewhere to eat, what's the first place you'll take them to?
Ooh.
Mm.
Okay. Cheesies. There's a place called Cheesies here in Chicago. I it's gourmet grilled cheese. You're gonna be like, really, out of all the
Mm.
in the world. But they make the best grilled cheeses ever. And it is in Boys Town, located in my community. So or North, or for those who are watching that from Chicago, North Halstead. Because it used to be called Boys Town, but then they changed it to North Halstead for a whole reasoning. I'm just like, okay. But from Boys Town, but I call it Boys Town still. So from my neighborhood, and literally they have now attached to it a pizza place as well. So now you can get pizza and they have grill gourmet cheeses. They have my favorite's the Popper. So if anybody ever wants to go there, the Popper, the best. It's spicy, it's good. Um and they have arcades. You can play. They have arcades
Oh,
that you get to actually like play art video games and stuff, like old style arcades, new style arcades. They have like a hockey table as well, so it's pretty fun. It's so cool. It's a great place, and it's right next to a club, so
oh
you
my,
can go eat and go party.
oh my Lord. I
Look,
mean, I'm not gonna lie. Maybe I'm just too commercial, but when I wanted to go to Chicago, I wanted to go to the Wiener Circle because I want to get cursed out by them girls. I don't know if you ever. I think you know what I'm
you
talking.
lost me at bottom, girls. I was like,
All right. Next question would be, if you could be at an event right now, what song, if you could have one song, what would it be to dance to?
ooh. Ah. I'm really bad at Spanish, so the fact that I have to not say a Spanish song, I might butcher this song. Honestly though, I think my favorite right now, like if I hear it, I have to dance to it. It's a Jerry Rivera song. I know that for a fact.
Okay. Salsa.
Salsa. Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just bachata here. I thought it was.
Oh no, no, no! I dance salsa too.
Oh, I know.
But yeah, no, it's a Jerry Rivera song. It's we did it for Touch, and I just don't
Okay.
remember the song. That I'm really bad with the names, but yeah, it's a Jerry Rivera song though. Say that right
I
now.
would say anything Jerry Rivera
Jerry
ish.
Rivera, Mark Anthony, or
Okay.
give me any like Tito Rojas, any of those like old school. I can dance to them all day.
Okay.
Because I grew up on it.
Yes.
My mother and my dad were very much salseros, and when it came to the house, so every Sunday during cleaning, you were listening to salsa music from the moment my mom started cleaning to the end of the day, because it was literally like that all day. So I grew up on these songs. So the fact when the people play them, I'm like, I have to dance because this is literally like my childhood coming out of me right now.
Oh my God. I know what you mean on a Sunday when you're supposed to clean all
Yes,
the negative spirits out. You're supposed
that
to,
was my mother.
the fabuloso, yeah, you get all that.
She
Yes.
was
All
everything.
right. Big ups to the mom. All right. Next question. What is your dream vacation destination?
Fiji. I want to go to Fiji so bad. I heard it's expensive, but I want to go. I don't care. Fiji. I want clear blue water, sands, and a cute little tut on the water.
Okay. All right. Next question. What did you want to be at 10 years old?
Honestly, I think I wanted to be a firefighter. Yeah. I actually wanted to be a firefighter when I grew up. A firefighter, then a cosmetologist, because obviously in high school I learned about hair and I was like, ooh, I like hair. But at 10 years old, definitely a firefighter. I was actually obsessed with firefighters. I loved firefighters.
Okay. Nice. All right. Next question. What's your spirit animal?
Cardi B.
Sad. Sad.
Facts. But if I had to pick an animal, I took in this test so many times in different things actually, and I always get a wolf. So I'm gonna go with a wolf.
Because you can be alone and you can be with a pack at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that answer. Next question. What is a huge or what are big do nots for Jeremy when someone is dancing with you?
Do not try to dip me. I am too
Ooh.
big to be dipping. We gonna say that right now. Look, my size doesn't allow me to dip. Your fragile arms are going to drop me. Stop. Both on
Oh
me.
my God.
Body rolls, I'm good with, but you try to dip me for what? I'm too big for that. Let me eliminate the dips. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
I definitely agree. I mean, some leads honestly don't.
Jesus, I'd be like, I'm going to break your arm. Stop.
You need something like, and I know a friend of mine's, her name is Sasha from New York. She's around maybe 6'1", 6'2", has on her heels maybe 6'4", six
Oh,
five.
I know who Sasha is. We danced together on
Yes.
Expo.
Yes. So, and I remember having these talks with her, and she's telling me, she's like, you don't understand how it feels sometimes to see a person my height or a little taller because like it's almost a rarity. And it's like, it is. I mean, I've noticed, especially dancing in the scene, like there are very few people who are exceptionally taller than others. And I understand when it's like you meet someone that, all right, I think I will be fine. I think if I do these certain moves, things will work out okay. Think we may have tuned out, just waiting for Jeremy as you speak.
Oh,
I think
is it back?
yep, I think we're
Are you
good.
back?
Yes. You hear me?
Back? Hello?
Do you hear me?
Okay, who I was scared like, no! I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
No, no worries. But yeah, I mean, like,
I was scared.
no, it's all good. I think, yeah, it's technical difficulties. I think it maybe went out again. Let's see if we can get Jeremy back on. Sorry, everyone, for the technical difficulties. Just trying to get Jeremy back on and finish our segment called The Randoms. Again, I thank everyone who is tuning in. I think we may have that connection.
Hello?
Hello. Hello. Let's see.
Back? Am I back?
Hold on. Are you back?
I'm back.
Yes.
Good. Okay, I am so sorry.
No, it's perfectly fine.
My internet sucks.
No, it's okay. It happens. It
We
happens.
pay all this money for internet here and it don't work correctly. I don't know why. Chicago weather, I guess.
It's all good. All right. Next question. What would be your superpower?
So Storm, the character Storm, I
Yes.
want her superpower all the way.
Okay.
Whatever she got, give it to me. I'll make
Gotcha.
it sunny. I will make it sunny every single day in Chicago. 80-degree weather at the beach. Thank you.
I love it. I love it. All right. Next question. Three people that have been most influential to you at this point in your life, and you can also bunch in family together as well.
Okay. One is gonna go to my mom. Obviously, she raised me. So obviously, with that being said, my mother always give me the first one. She taught me just to be a strong person. Don't give a fuck what nobody thinks. Excuse my language. Um, and second's gonna go to Kimberly Rivera, dance mom, all day, every day. That woman has probably seen me grow as much from my beginnings of a Latin dancer to all the way where I am today, going to Florida and performing. Legit, that woman has been through every single step of my dance career in the Latin realm, and I think her guidance has been such a big part of where I am as a dancer. And then I think my third person is gonna have to go to my good Judy, Caitlin Rodriguez. She is probably another person who has like lately, like from like this whole quarantine, this whole um all this has been my mental sanity. She has
Mm.
helped me be has she calls me the bad bitch that I am. So so she's helped a lot through that. She has definitely pushed me as well as to be creative, um, be out of the box when it comes to my dance career and just me as a person as well. Yeah, like those three right there probably have been like the most influential for sure.
Nice. Awesome. I love that list. All right. Next question. Second before last. What is a special talent that you have many people wouldn't know?
I feel like that was gonna be a question too. Apparently, I can sound like Cher when I sing. Apparently, like they say, like I sound. I'm not gonna do it but that is a hidden talent. Apparently, that I am. I can sing like Cher, and I'm not. I don't feel like doing it live, so we're not.
No worries. I want it. Well, hopefully soon in the future we can get a little note, but
I gotta be
we'll
drunk.
leave
I
that.
feel like I'll be really, really drunk to do that. But yeah,
I
like
mean,
literally every person, my mother, my sister, every time I've done it in front of somebody, they literally were like, "You sound exactly like Cher, like scary, like that close." So, but like
um,
my mom busted out crying in tears because she was like, she
oh
didn't
my
expect
God.
to hear that.
Of all people share. All
Cher,
right.
all people,
Now
Cher.
now it brings us to the last question. Love this question because the answers are so crazy sometimes. It goes like this. If you're on an island, disclaimer, there is no Wi-Fi. What are three things you would have to have with you?
Hmm. I think one's gonna be my phone, just because of the music, because all the music that I have on the phone.
And then it dies,
Um,
and then you're fine.
huh?
Then it dies, I'm assuming, because you have nothing to plug in.
I'm gonna get that solar Wi-Fi thing. What you
There
think
you
that
go.
that
There
solar
you,
charger?
you see? Oh,
Look at so Wi-Fi and solar charger to always have music. And
that's
I
one.
think hmm, that's a good question. Honestly, we're on an island. I mean, I guess you could eat whatever on the island, try to find food and grow some stuff. So I would probably I don't know. Honestly, I want to just say my phone and a slow charger because I don't think that I probably don't need it. Because I
Mm.
literally I do everything on my phone, but I mainly listen to music on my phone all the time. So like music for me is like a, and then is my zen point, and then I guess like a solar charger to keep that thing going. That's about it.
All right. I mean, no food. Any
It's the cord.
specific?
Okay, so there's no, because if you're on an island, most likely there's probably like some vegetation that you could eat. You're just gonna turn vegetarian. Sorry, no meat.
Okay.
No meat eat for nothing.
No tooth. Nothing. No.
If you on an island, most likely, then what's the point of teeth? There's nobody there with you. Like you ain't gotta look cute for nobody. Like
Oh my God.
my finger.
I love your honesty. I love it.
Pick.
I love it.
Look, finger, brush. We got the pick.
I'll do the baby gum.
Look it. Come on now. We good.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Jeremy, thank you again for this segment. I definitely feel like I learned a lot more about you in very little time. I appreciate it. And now
Crazy self. Yeah, I know. I'm crazy. You know this.
And now it brings us to the conclusion of our discussion today. And honestly, I really do want to thank you a lot for coming on. I feel like we got a nice glimpse of who Jeremy is. I don't want to get too detailed to this time because I definitely feel I would love to have you on in the future and we can get definitely deeper. I really want to talk about the Congress life, about people need to understand what it's like. It can be fun, but it can be hectic. It can be stressful, but it can be just
hectic. You don't even know the word hectic. When you went to like 5 dance teams, hectic.
Yes, some costume changes. You can't find your shoes. That's a whole nother episode. So
don't bring me down that memory lane because I almost died right now. I was like, oh.
Oh my God. But, before at least we go, I would love to know if you had any last few words for myself and the audience, but also maybe any contact info to know about future projects that you might have coming up.
Yeah, for sure. So obviously, if you guys, I am gonna start teaching the classes again. If you live in the Chicagoland area, they'll be held either Saturday or Sunday on the weekend starting next month. And then that'll be by Rockwell and North Avenue. I'll give you all the information on my page. If you look for me on Instagram, it's going to be Jeremy Felly 1992. I have a TikTok as well, which is the same at Jeremy Felly 1992. Facebook, Jeremy Feliciano. Yeah, pretty much my name. And then for future projects soon. Right now I'm just kind of focusing on my solo stuff. So that's pretty much how that's working. I just had indigestion. That is disgusting. Sorry, America. Sorry. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Gotcha. It's honestly just us being able to talk, Kate, even though not physically. It's really good to reconnect. I'm glad that I could have you on this platform because I wanted people to really get to understand you for more than what you just do on the stage. And I definitely feel in this about hour and change of time that we've gotten a little more of a glimpse. But I definitely can't wait to have you on in the future. I hope you and your family stay safe out there in Chicago. I hope you and your routines the sky is the limit and beyond. And I definitely can't wait to see what you have going in the future. So, on behalf of the Live Discussions with Diamond podcast, I'm Diamond here with Jeremy Feliciano, and we had a really good talk today, actually. So, thank you everyone for tuning in. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.